Okay, we're recording. I'm not going to be awkward. So I loved the three chapters that we went over. What's your story? Then going over the like how to talk to people. I thought the rules were absolutely incredible. There was a lot of things that I was just like, whoa, that's pretty awesome. And then the three-way call chapter, chapter 6 was all about three-way calls, which we can kind of just like discuss if you guys want to unmute and stuff. But the beginning part, the first chapter that we're going to go over is chapter 4, which is about like your story. And I had, swear to God, these 3 chapters are like, it's nothing but highlight in my book. But I love how she like tells us that like we're literally paid storytellers. Like we have to get used to like telling our story in like multiple different ways. And the last said the last thing you want to do is tell stories full of bullshit. Like make sure that you're being real and being who you are and don't like over exaggerate and whatever. And she said facts tell but stories sell. And we decide we want to buy something and then we go looking for reasons why it's a good idea, right? And so people are like, so if you have an emotionally drawing story, then we are able to bring people in that way. So that's really what we do here, right? It's what we were kind of just talking about, Hope, like with our like attraction marketing. It's all based off of this thing right here, the storytelling and making sure that you have like the facts, but you also have the emotion side of it.
I think that she does an amazing job at also making sure that you're not spending a stupid amount of time on your story, because like I don't even know where to start with my story because there are so many emotional based parts that I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But if somebody had said, hey, Hope, dim your story down to like 5 minutes, I'd be like, no.
Yeah. I know. I think that like she breaks down those elements right here on the second page of that chapter, like with what to put into your story, the things that matter. And then she talks about the rest of it just being fluff. Like don't put in too much fluff unless you're having like a one-on-one conversation with somebody, then you can add in like a little bit more stuff. But when we're making business posts and things like that, or talking on a live, like we should be able to share our story and know exactly like the things that we want to hit on, because we know they're emotional pain points for people. Like they were our pain points and we found a solution. And so she says that we're talking 45 seconds to 1 minute, but I'm like, whoa, I don't know if I've ever shared my story in that small amount of time. But she says, remember the person you're talking to about your business and your products is more important than you. So don't talk like it's like a lot of times like I utilize my story so much that I think I might overdo my side instead of like listening to them, which she goes over in chapter 6 about talking on the 3-way. So I love how she like everything that she says like kind of just like flows in together to make sense how it like all ties together. Oh yeah. And I loved this part where she talks about suggesting behavior you don't want them to do. So like if you were a customer for 2 years before you started joining, like she was like, so when your story includes, I heard about my company, I immediately researched everything I could over the next 2 weeks. You're shooting yourself in the foot. Do you really want people to do that? Or I used the products for 2 years before I came a rep for the company. Cue blood curdling scream. If you were a product or a service user first, I'm not telling you to lie about it. I'm just telling you not to mention it. Like, isn't that so good?
Such a mood, because that's what I did, and I didn't find anything I wanted to hear anyway.
Yeah.
So I was like, but I'm the stupid person to be like, yeah, don't worry, like me, I researched everything, and you know what I found? Don't even listen to it. Like,
Yeah.
no.
It's like that makes so much sense, right? Like if we're gonna say that, then they're gonna be like, well, I need to go do that too. Or like it kind of just like tells them it's okay to like use the products for 2 years and then decide you want to start your business. I mean, obviously it is okay, but I'm just saying like we don't want to set them up that way.
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay, so it says if the fact that you fell in love with the products first was instrumental for you joining the business, you can include something like, I love the idea of being able to have, she opted as skincare, but we could also say like the best energy of my life, or giving my body the best nutrition, or whatever your product or service is, and getting paid for it. But then she goes over quantifiables are the number that show growth and what the business is doing for you. And this part, it starts to make my stomach queasy because I know one of the biggest things that I hear from our team is like, but what if I don't have success yet? And every single time I'm just like, okay, but you're showing them what is coming for you, you know what I mean, or what you're working towards. And so when she started reading, or she started, I started reading this, I was like, oh crap, like she's going to talk about like money and things like that, like showing what your business is doing for you. But then she says, she talked about, I don't know if I underlined it, but I know she said like, if like that's not something that you have yet, I think I did. I don't know if I underlined it, but she definitely did talk about like, if that's not something that you've had yet, if you haven't experienced that success yet, or you've been doing this for a while and you haven't seen the success that you've wanted to see, like to get, talking about what the business is going to do for you or what you're working with. Oh, right here, she's like, but you've decided to ramp it up. She gave like 2 different like paragraphs, how you can be honest with your following about how like you weren't, you let fear control you or whatever. Like I thought that was really good because it's calling yourself out and saying like, this, I'm not successful here because I haven't given it my 100%. Like it's being honest with yourself. Like there's things that have held you back or whatever, and like saying that out there is like lets people know that it like you're not just not successful, you just haven't tried all the way, or allowed yourself to like let go of the fear. And then let's see.
I love the way that she scales everything.
Yeah.
Like the way that she like puts numbers in her entire ideas. I'm like, wait, that's brilliant. Like, hey, how likely are you to join? That's an amazing way to go forward.
Yeah, I worked with a guy that did that, and I was like, oh my god, did he read this book? Because he literally would say that same thing, like on a scale, okay, from a scale of 1 to 10, how interested are you, or do you want to run? Do you hate Audrey? That's what he used to say on the 3 calls, as a 1 being like, I hate you, Audrey, you're crazy, I can't believe you put me on this call, or number 10, let's do this, I want to be a part of this or whatever. And so like he used to do that for me, like on our 3 calls, and like I was like, he must have read this book. But I loved this too, like getting good about your stories, like having your story library, and knowing how to say like, okay, this person's a teacher, like knowing a teacher on our team, or like somebody that was a nurse like Lindsay, like having those stories in our library or whatever is going to be huge, because they're not always going to be the same as us. We might have a similar pain point, or we might have touched on something in a post or whatever, and that's why they're in our inbox, but we don't have a relatable story. That we share our story, but then we can pull in someone else's. And I thought that was freaking genius.
I realized that with Jordan's, is that I was like, holy crap, because Jordan's story is like nobody else's that I've heard.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, like that one is like almost 100% relatable, even like to the people that aren't like, the other people that have been talking.
Yeah.
And so like I brought that up last time. I was like, we have MAs, we have nurses, we have pharmacy technicians, like we have stay-at-home moms, we have people who were in full-blown businesses that switched over. Like when she put it into words, though, it made much more sense than when I was just like writing it on my notebook.
No, yeah. I love Jordan. I still need to go back and watch her Zoom since I wasn't able to get on it, but I do believe that she kills it. Let's see. I have so much highlighted. I have to like, okay. So chapter 5 is where she talks about talking her way to 7 figures and how we can do it too. And then she goes over reach out rules. Now, this is what we were kind of talking about before we started recording. We don't do reach outs. That's something that we're taught here within this team of, the team that we're on with the leaders that we have. I don't think that cold messaging is the way to build a business, but there's a difference between cold messaging and what she's describing here. So if reaching out is something that you want to do so that you're not waiting, then of course, you guys everybody can do whatever they want, right? This is our businesses. Each one of us, we're all a team, but we each have our own personal business, and we can run it how we feel, you know, like we want to. I think that it's something that I'm probably going to start initiating if there's somebody that I see that I feel like I would love to have that person, you know, on my team, or if I see a lot of potential, or if I see like a lot of pain points that I'm like, I could really solve this for you, like I could help you, you know, then you can go to them in this genuine way that she talks about. So we can kind of like literally that my whole book is highlighted. So if we don't want to go over all my highlights, we'll be here all day. But I thought hilarious rule number 3, less is more. We always talk about don't word vomit on people, but she was like, you don't want to be a prospecting slut. And I was like, that is hilarious. Oh my God. That really made me laugh. Let's see, don't be attached to any outcome of one conversation. I always say that, like, we don't need to, who cares if they say no? Like, we gave them the information, like, we don't need to be attached to what they say.
That was one hard lesson for me. And when you first said it, I was like, what? No, I care. I told my husband directly after you had said something like that. I was like, sorry, she left us on red. And you were like, nah, it's fine. That happens all the time. And I was like, what? No, I'm not okay with that. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we just don't care. We just have to take out that emotion. Rule number 2, don't be on the hunt. I freaking love this because I hate hearing people say, I'm gonna go get a customer. Ew. I hate that terminology. I really, really, really do. She's like, it's not just a gimmick when we say we're not salespeople, we're shares people. We don't focus on what we can get from others. Instead, we're curious about others' lives, hopes, and desires, and genuinely interested in giving information, giving solutions, and if it's a good fit, giving mentoring. And I was just like, that is so freaking good. Less is more. Don't word vomit. Be authentic. Don't try to be somebody else. And then rule number 5, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. That is so true. Just being excited. Like in the beginning, we don't know what the hell we're talking about. You know what I mean? We're just really excited because we just started something new. And so sometimes you sound retarded because you're trying to learn and like it just doesn't work. You know what I mean? But like the excitement, people, that comes across, and like you really can't say the wrong thing to the right person. If you find yourself convincing, stop it. How many times have I said that to you guys? We are not here to convince people to join this business. We are literally just here to give them the information. And then listen, really listen, and work from appointment to appointment. I think that's very key, because I love this right here. I had, this is the only thing I highlighted in that thing. Being professional is never pushy. And if this is a business for you and you're wanting to make thousands of dollars a month, then you need to run it like a business. And I don't know any business owner that doesn't say, okay, well then I will see you at 5 p.m. or whatever, you know what I mean? When they're working with somebody, they're not like, okay, well, just whenever you want to get back to me, you know, definitely get back to me. Or, you know, yeah, just definitely think about it, and like no end date, you know, like that's not professional of us. You know, that's not how, we're not running it like a business. We're now running it like we're just friends with everybody and whatever. Like we can still have that friend, you know, relationship and still say like, hey, okay, cool. So you want to definitely talk to your husband. How about I get back with you tomorrow? You know, is 8 p.m. or, you know, 6 p.m. better for you? Which one works? And then they realize like, oh, your time is valuable. And they realize that, you know, you take this seriously. And the more that you take it seriously, the more that other people take it seriously. So I thought that was really good. Number 9, don't count your chickens. I see people say this all the time, like, oh yeah, I have a customer enrolling on Friday. Or I have a couple that are supposed to enroll on this day or whatever. And then you start to slow down because you know you have customers like enrolling, but then those customers may not even enroll because they haven't actually enrolled. So don't count your chickens before they're actually in the system. Rule number 10, lead with the business, default to the products. I thought this was genius. If someone's not interested in trying your products or service, how the hell can you say to them, you're not interested in what our company sells, but you should take a look at starting a business that revolves around the very thing you're disinterested in.
100%. When I saw that, I was like, well, crap.
Right.
Like,
And we are
what are you
taught,
doing?
yeah, we're pretty much taught to lead with the product, because our product is gold and our product does help everybody. But the thing is like no one would start a business if they're not interested in the product. So it makes sense to start with the business if we're doing a reach out, then to lead with a product and then be like, okay, well, if you're not interested in product.
Well, and then like I love the next part of like, because the next part I didn't even think of is referrals.
Love that.
I was like, wait, what? Like, why did I think there was only two options? That's genius.
Yes, it's so smart. It's so smart. I really liked that too because it was just like, dang. And then she says she like highlights them, you know what I mean,
Yes,
with what she's looking for, like just to reiterate that they have,
you would be the perfect match.
yeah. So that I thought that was really smart too. Don't leave rambling voicemails, and for us it would be voice messages.
Yeah.
Number 12, lead with what's in it for them. I think that that's really key because a lot of times we're just like, we start talking about like the $800 in the first 2 weeks and the free products. And all of those things are absolutely incredible and undeniably amazing that we have that within our compensation plan. But that's not something that doesn't show it what's in it for them, right? They do, okay, well, I can get free product. Okay, well, I can get $800, but that's not their pain points. And I thought that that was so good to like, before you get on a call with somebody, like go look at their Facebook page, go look at the things that they're talking, look at your conversations.
I
What
think
they
it
said.
was you. I think it was you that baffled me or something because you said something either to my three-way call or to me at one point, and I was like, "How does she know that?" And I vividly remember going, "How did she even know that?" And I was like, "Well, it's on my like social media. Like, why wouldn't she know that?" But I was like, "Wow, that's really good to know. Like, that she's actually paying attention. Like, clearly, I'm important." And that's exactly how it makes people feel. Is it makes them feel important? Like, well, clearly,
She pays
I'm
attention.
of value.
Yeah. Yeah. And that I do that. Like I look to try to figure out things about people before I talk to them, or if they like message me, like you reached out and said, hey, tell me whatever. So before I ever message you back, I go to your page and I look at who you are. Well, first, if I even want to work with you, right? I don't want to work with everyone.
No.
So like I look to see if there's anything that we have in common. Then I look to see like what kind of personality, what their life looks like, and things like that, and see what I can take away. And then I go respond. And that way I feel like, okay, now I know you a little bit better because I don't know every single person that follows me. I have over 5,000 followers. And then on Facebook too. So like it's 10,000 people that I don't know, And so it's like I got to really try to figure out who they are before we go. And then she said, figuring out a person's pain points and how our business can reduce or eliminate her pain. And that's what going to them and like saying those things is going to be so much more effective than saying about like the highlight points, the free product credit, the trips, like all of those things. Like those are just things that would be extra on top of this. And then she broke it down with her conversation. So if anybody hasn't read that, I suggest you going to like read those things because the way that she broke down the conversation made so much sense, and how she approached people with the pain and how it can be solved. I thought was really smart. Then rule number 13, if it's no from the business, ask for referrals. That's what you were saying. Like, this is so smart right here, how she says this. I totally get that it's not for you, Maggie. It's not for everyone, but I'd love to pick your brain about your network since I have a feeling you likely know some people that I could help. Do you have a couple more minutes so I can describe exactly who I'm looking for and we'll see whose names pop up in your head? And I was like, holy crap. Like,
Every time she says something, like when she goes, "Hey, can I pick your brain about something?" The day that I read it, I looked at my husband and I was like, "Okay, let's go get coffee. I don't need coffee, but let's go get coffee. I'm ready. Let's start any conversation here. Let's do this."
it's just so crazy. Like, and then I love how she like says, like she gets specific, like things that she's like the people that she's looking for, saying, the person that she's talking to. So it reiterates to them. And then saying like, I love to work with stay-at-home moms who need the flexibility with their kids, but also need the income. Like I love how she pulls those out. And then the part where she says like if they can't think of names on the phone, saying like it might be hard for you to think of some people right now, but would it be helpful if I sent you a brief email summarizing what we talked about, who exactly I'm looking for, and you'll be easily able to forward it to anybody you think of. And I was like, that's genius too, like to have like an email with broken down of like our like just a short summary and then the people that we're looking for, and then they can refer to them. Like that's so smart. And that's running it like a business owner. When I was reading this, I'm like, that sounds like she takes this really seriously. You know what I mean? She works this like a business. She doesn't work this like a side hustle, like
And
this.
she doesn't, but she's not ever aggressive or obnoxious about it, which is not something I was expecting because I feel like because we don't have scripts and stuff that I don't actually know how a lot of like our big leaders lead their business. Like I don't know what they look like when they talk to people.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I'm half imagining, like I default to imagine everybody kind of being like not aggressive, but like so overly confident, I guess. And I'm like, but the way that she like gives examples is so genuine, and she does sound so genuine about it.
But to the point too, like firm,
Right.
like, this is what we're doing. And then saying the rule number 14, don't end the conversation without talking about becoming your customer. So if they're not like interested in the business, if you could have more energy to do the things you want to do, would that make a difference in your life? Like what? Like, so if somebody's like, they're not really interested in the business, where they reached out, they're like, man, that doesn't really sound like it's for me. Okay. Well, before we get off the phone, like if you could have more energy to do all the things that you need to do in your life, like, would that make a difference? Like, whoa, now we're talking about becoming a customer. Like, that's so smart.
I think that was my favorite part of the book because I feel like I do that. Sorry. Hi, I'm here now. I'm driving. Sorry, I had to get Elena ready, but I think that's my favorite part because I think that's what I feel like that might be my fault and might be my strength, because I default when somebody has already convinced themselves that they don't want to do this business or that they can't or whatever. I'm like, well, what are your health goals? Like, what did you see me talking about on my stories that made you reach out in the first place? And they're like, oh, I saw you talking about all this energy. And so then I default straight back to customer.
Yeah.
And I was looking last night and I have like 66 customers, but I just got Dakota and I's 2 auto ship customers for both. So 4 for both accounts yesterday, and it's the 9th. And I'm like, something I'm defaulting to isn't going in the long run.
Yeah, it's not retaining.
But I mean, it's not always like that, obviously. But
yeah,
I was just thinking, obviously, I'm defaulting to that if I have that many customers, but only 6 promoters.
Yeah. Well, we have to remember too, like we can always take those, like our customers are typically our best promoters. So going to those customers that are repeatedly ordering, or maybe were interested in the business, but were like hesitant and, like you said, held themselves back, convinced themselves they couldn't do it. So you defaulted to enrolling them as a customer. You could go back to those customers after like the first month of their products or whatever and just say like, hey, so like, tell me how the products went. How do you love it? Is this something that you feel like, if they're like, oh my God, I loved it, I had so much energy. Now, do you feel like you could talk to the people about this? Do you feel like you could share this just like you did a Starbucks drink and tell people how much you love this? Then you could go back and pull them through your funnel as a promoter. So,
so good. I love that. I guess I never even thought about like reaching back out. Like once a no was a no, like don't kick a dead horse. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I never no for real. I just think it's like just not right now. But I do seriously sometimes, like going back to our customers or customers that you have repeatedly ordering. If you have customers that are repeatedly ordering, they're spending money every single month. Why would they not want to earn their product for free just by telling about a product they clearly freaking love? Like, right. It's not like they have to build a 6-figure business. Like, just like, is this something that you feel passionate about? Do you like, do you love this product enough to where you could feel like you could talk about it? Because I can show you how to talk about it and earn your product for free, even if that's your minimum goal. But you never know, you might find something here that makes you want to go further. So that's a good thing, is to make sure you're going back to your customers and not only checking on them, we should always be checking on our customers, but to be asking them like, how are you feeling about this product? And if they're like so excited when you ask them that question, you should say like, okay, well, do you think you would want to relay that passion to like your family and your friends, like your people on your social media, because you could be earning your product for free.
I absolutely love that Christina defaults to that, because I never thought about it. And I guess I never knew how to make that switch of, okay, not promoter to customer. Like I knew that they'd be interested in different things. And I've had a few people that start questioning as a customer, but I don't know how to start like defaulting or switching over that conversation. So when she in the book shows like, okay, so this is how we're going to switch over, I was like, wow, that's amazing. That's great. How do you think of that?
It's genius. Yeah, she's really smart. And then I love this last chapter. I'm gonna have to hop off here in like 1 minute because I got to get my daughter up for school. But I love the three-way thing. I really highly suggest three ways. I think everybody knows that I try to push, utilize your upline for three ways. She's doing calls. I actually think that calls are more effective than I don't prefer messaging, because messaging can be drawn out over weeks. And a call is done within 15 to 20 minutes, and then the person has all the information, they know what's going on. So I think that we should start utilizing phone calls, because I think that they are more effective. I pretty much close almost every single person that we talk to like on the phone, because they're already interested. Then they're getting that second party validation, and they're understanding maybe more than what the person could have explained. But
I want to touch on that. I have noticed since I started giving out my phone number to anyone who wanted to order, who has ordered, my retention on customers is a lot better, because people can, especially older women. I have a lot of like Dakota's grandparents friends who order, and they want to call me. They don't even want to get on the website because they don't freaking understand what I'm talking about. So they want to call me and tell me their card number over the phone every time. Like, it doesn't save, but it gives them that sense of security to like be able to talk to you. And I have a lot of people who text me. They'll be like, hey,
you're breaking up. Hold on, you're cutting out. I can't hear anything you're saying. Can you hear her?
No.
Okay. I was like, is it my internet?
like I know I haven't ordered it a lot. Can you how much this is, or what's messaging some stranger? Like if I talk to anyone, everyone. Okay, can you hear me now?
Now I can. Yeah.
Sorry, I had to turn my Wi-Fi on. I'm at the school.
No, you're fine.
But yeah,
okay.
I was just saying, if they talk to me, I give them my phone number. Always.
Yeah, well, I don't give people my phone number. Half of our team doesn't even have my phone number. Because I don't look at my text messages, to be honest. I don't text. So people stay in my text messages like forever. Roxy used to text me when she first got started, and then she was like, you're not answering my text messages. Like, I never check my text messages. So you just need to message me on the 2 apps that I open. But I do like the three-way call thing, and I do like setting it up as an appointment. And I love how she says, like, after reviewing everything, I know you'll have some questions, so let's schedule a time that we can get them answered. I'm going to invite a friend and a business partner to join us. So she'll give you another perspective, and together we can help you see if this is a good fit for you. Like, so like nonchalant, so like no pressure, but this is what's going to happen. And I love, I'm going to finish out with this last part where she talks about, you are the expert. You're the one who needs to tell them what the next step is. Don't allow somebody else to tell you what the next step will be. You set the tone for the conversation. You tell your friend, you tell the person, like, this is what's happening next. We get on this call. You know what I mean? Like, it makes it go through the funnel so much quicker. And it says, please don't sabotage yourself by making up the story in your head. That professional, efficient, and helpful conversations that ask your prospects to make decisions are pushy. It's not pushy to ask somebody to make a decision. Like, we're not pressuring them. We're just saying, like, what do you do you want this or not? Like, we don't have this is a business. You know what I mean? We would never have people coming through. And I think that there's a lot of people on our team who have like a lot of potentials, but don't have people actually enrolling. And that's why we're not telling people that they need to make a decision. Right. And so when we kind of just like leave it up in the air and it's like, oh yeah, totally, let me know whenever, like, no one's going to ever let you know. That's just how life works. And people just don't know how to commit. So we just have to kind of show them how to walk through it. So I thought this was so good. I loved these 3 chapters. I'm super excited that we're like already halfway through the book. So hopefully this was helpful. I'll upload the recording later, but I have to go get my daughter ready. She has literally 10 minutes before the bus gets here. So
bye.
bye, girl.